We got the next patient on the table. She is a '05 Lexus LS430 with a 4.3 liter. Complaint goes the VSC lamp is on. I believe that's vehicle stability control, and the vehicle will not drive over 20 miles per hour. The communication I got from the customer was that they believe the VSC lamp was on for a while, and only after the vehicle sat for some period of time, then when they went in to drive it, they gave it a boost. There's so many loud things driving by. I boosted it off. It had been sitting for a while, and then it would not drive over 20 mile an hour. Since then, the battery has been replaced, and it still will not drive over 20 miles per hour. I did not take it for a test drive. I just pulled it in the shop, did a pre-check. I did scan it for codes. In the engine controller, we have a P2118, which is throttle actuator control motor current range performance. And the ABS module has a C1201, which just says engine control system. So apparently the ABS is grumpy that the throttle actuator code is set in the engine controller. Not quite what we got as far as communication from the customer. Sounded like the VSC lamp was on for a while, but the speed limit, or the torque limitation, if you would, was something that came later. But I don't see anything in the history for the ABS module or any other modules that would be something, stability control related, like wheel speed sensors, whatever. But we'll keep both of those details in the back of our mind. The ABS module is grumpy with the engine computer setting a throttle code. For the next thing, I think we're just going to jump in the car, look at some throttle PID data, then probably grab some wiring diagrams as always, bust the scope out, and see what she's all grumpy about. Hanging out in the car, key on, engine off. I actually have quite a few. Oh, there goes my tool. Well, only the greatest film quality. There's actually quite a few throttle PIDs in here. So we've selected a whole bunch of them. Just as I was selecting, I was bouncing through. Some work, some don't. This says accelerator, so starting with pedal stuff. Looks like 0.8 volts. There's interesting, what they're calling learnings in here. So I don't know how many of these are actually accurate. We'll just kind of go through. So I'm going to start pushing on the pedal a little bit. We can see the accelerator voltage is changing. We can see accelerator voltage percentage converted down here is changing. And then we're still pushing. So now we're on the floor. Looks like the two pedals are pegging out 71, 87 percentage. And then we'll move up to here. We've got these accelerator sensor outs that look like they're both peaked. I'm going to tip out of it. Yep, both of those are dropping down like I would expect. So we got our pedal stuff that looks all right. Let's keep going. I don't even know what some of these are without probably reading through service data. But anyway, now we really are getting to some throttle stuff here, more throttle instead of pedal. It's well, these are learn position, idle position, motor. Let's do this. It says motor current 0 amps, motor duty cycle 15%. I'm gonna watch these, and then we also got some voltages down here. So let's start tipping into the accelerator. We are getting an increase in duty cycle. We're getting an increase in command position and voltage, but it sticks. Now I'm finally on the floor, but it looks like we're peaking at 27% and 1.4 volts. I'm going to take a guess to say that those are probably in line, and based on our fault that we have, this is some sort of limitation we've got. But it does seem to actually move a little bit, tipping out of it. So resting at 0.8, resting at 15% duty cycle. At watt, we're resting at 27, 1.4. What else do we have? Throttle sensor 2 voltage. We're off the pedal. Let's go ahead and start tipping into it. Looks like we have no changes on any of these. That's all we got scroll. I'm going to start tipping out of it. So I'm curious. Let's hit the floor, let off the floor. I'm curious if it's like our voltage percentage. I don't know how to actually classify these. Motor duty cycle. Well, anyway, I don't know which ones of these are frozen based on the fact that we have a fault and which ones are actually working. Let's see if we have some active tests where we can look at actual throttle changes if we can command it with the tool. Glancing through, looks like we have two. We have control, electronic throttle control system, open close slow speed, and same thing, open close fast speed. Let's just hit these dudes and see what they do. We'll do custom list. I assume it's going to ask me for everything. Alright, we've gone through, these are not in alphabetical order. They're the same PIDs we were looking through before, but we've selected several throttle things. This test open and closes the throttle at a low speed. Operate with ignition on, engine off, and park, blah, blah, blah. So let's go ahead. I don't know why it doesn't give me the ability to command it open. Let's go ahead and hit close. ECU cannot return. Please verify all condition. Well, I did. I thought. Let's try it again. I don't know if all my stuff is still selected. Of course not. Well, that's super annoying. Let's just look at position sensors. Clutch accelerator. Oh. It's clutching and pedal at the same time. So I'm hitting the pedal. Nothing's happening, but it won't allow open. Hit close again. Got grumpy. Let's do the open fast. Hit custom list again. No, this is super exciting. I don't remember which throttles or whatever. I'm just gonna grab some stuff that says throttle. See if this thing even works. Again, the open is not selected. Test open and close, yep. Engine, key ignition on, key off. That's where we are. So I'm pushing on the pedal. It says open. Let off the pedal, hit close. Well, apparently it's grumpy. Let's try special functions, see if anything pops up there. Don't see anything. So we're going to look through service info, grab some wiring diagrams, DTC set criteria, and we'll come back with that. It must have been a while since I've worked on a Lexus or some Toyota product. Their service info is actually pretty decent. I'm pretty proud of those guys for doing this. What it says is when we have this code, there is a fuse that feeds the engine controller. The engine controller has a throttle actuator circuit that it will reverse polarity to move it one direction or another. It says when there's a fault with that circuit, it will fix the throttle at like 16% or something. I don't think that number's in front of me, but I don't remember what it was when we looked at it. But it says it'll fix the throttle like 16%-ish, and it will adjust engine speed with fuel injection, pulse width, and ignition timing so you can drive it slowly, as they put it. But let me show you what we got as far as our basic wiring goes. So, battery, fuse box, something else. I don't know what all our diagram stuff means. I have to look it up. But anyway, basically power coming in through all that wire, and then it goes to this little chip dilly, and then it goes to actuate the throttle. Likely, I'd say we'll just start checking these fuse locations and see what happens there. After, depending depending on what we find. We're probably still going to get them over here and do the same test. We got our throttle actuator, 6 wire connector, and they're a little cryptic on their wire colors. L is blue, SB is sky blue, so that's fun. Suppose we'll check that fuse, and depending on what we find, we may pin these out, because even if that fuse blew, I want to know what caused that fuse to blow. Possibly if they jumped it, I don't know if we had an inrush of current or a reverse hookup, don't know. But conveniently, they give us some fuse locations to check on these pages. They're more or less the steps. Let's go crack the fuse box open and see if we can't find them dudes. We found the fuse box. Our paper says it's lower right fuse, second one up. Our little doomy-hickey dealy says right side 10 ampere ETCS. Let's give that a go. Got my second favorite tool here. Which one did I say? I got no power on one side, power on the other side. The key is off right now. That is fascinating. Why do we have a blown fuse? I'm going to grab some plier deals and come back. Got our plier deals. Try to grab the right one. Oh, yes. Well, in fact, that old girl. This is so much fun through a camera lens. How do they do that online? They put something behind it. Boom, there it is. She's blown. But why did she blow? That I don't know. What I'm going to do is input a breaker box or a little breaker deal and see. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna put a little breaker deal in there in case she does have some high current draw. That way we won't burn something up. It's been a while since I used this dude. I always got to remember how it goes. But basically, we have a breaker. There it is. 10 amp breaker connected to this buzzer that I don't think I've ever actually even heard go off, so I don't know how well it works. And then that wires to our little fuse adapter dilly. And then there's a little breaker switch. Can you see it? A little breaker switch on the top. So if it does trip, we can reset it there. She's plugged in. I'm up hearing stuff. So we got power to both sides now. I thought I heard a fan kick on or something. Let's set this down. Let's go ahead and key her on. Make sure nothing blows up. All right, we're keyed on. Make sure we didn't blow this fuse. We still got power on both sides. Probably should have run an amp clamp around it. Let's go ahead and switch over back probably in the vehicle to some scan tool stuff and see if that throttle starts to move. Hanging out in the vehicle, I have not cleared codes yet, where I just did a search for throttle since there were so many of them. And see what we got. I think I remember 0.7 previously. It says throttle motor on. I don't remember what that said previously. Motor duty cycle. Let's go ahead. So we're at 15%. I think that went up to like 28 or 30 or something. So let's start to tip in. Tipping in. It's like duty cycle's increasing. Our throttle position 1 and 2 at the bottom are increasing. I don't remember if those increased last time. I don't think they did. We're on the floor. Yeah, 82% duty cycle. That looks good. I'm pretty sure that was limited last time. And based on what we saw in service info, that wouldn't have been right anyway because it turns off current to it. So it must have been a calculation value tipping out of it. What else we got? Required position. Let's just hit it again. So slowly start tipping into the pedal. Getting some changes on them. We're on the floor. Yep, 99%. I don't think we saw that last time. Start tipping out of it. Position sensors at the bottom are changing. So what? Well, hot damn, I think we may have a fix. in that case, let's go hit our codes. It said it pretty well checks this thing at key on. Oh, okay, so it does still say current. Let's go ahead and erase these. Yes, yes. And then read codes again. But it said we have to do key cycle, so let's go ahead and key her off. Right on, we've been sitting key off for a minute. Let's go ahead, key this on. Let's go back to our scanner, hit read codes. No codes. Well, hot diggity damn. I'd say it's time for a test drive. We are back from our test drive. It drove very well. We're still in the engine computer. Let's see if we got any new codes popped. No new codes. We still have that. So we've got this exclamation. I'm going to close this stupid door. Well, maybe close the door. Let's try that again. There we go. So we have the exclamation point, and it still says maintenance required down there. But our VSC and check engine light is off. I'm curious if this is from our ABS module. Let's hit the brake module. Go into this one. Okay. Can't even enter it. It gets grumpy. Hit the codes. I think this is the one that said engine controller issue, like it was mad at the engine control. Well, that one cleared out too. Well, I got to figure out why we have a maintenance required light on. Still playing with this maintenance light. I'm not familiar with it, but I did see if I turn the car off and then restart it, the message below says reset AC filter or change AC filter. Oops, start it. Doesn't have tip start. Let's see, system check. Change AC filter. That's interesting. I don't know if that's cabin filter or something else. We'll look that up. And then I think I also found the reset light, so we'll just do a reset procedure on this and see if that gets rid of it. Right, we got the thing to reset, and in the reset procedure, you basically go down here, make sure nothing's showing up. There's a reset button on the dash. Push and hold reset while the car is on. Hold reset, key off. Hold reset with the key off, and then after a few seconds, key on with you're still holding that reset button. And then down in this message, it says check VSC, and I kept holding, and then that message went away. The icon went away, but we still get this change AC filter, and I don't see anything in the tool. I'll restart it. I guess I'll just have to look it up. I'm not familiar. I don't know if that's cabin filters. Yeah, change AC filter. I'll have to look that up, but that icon too, see there it goes away. Anyway, we're calling that a fix. I think she's done on this one unless I find something else with this AC filter. Best I can find on this AC filter reset is it's a process done through a button press on here. But apparently there's something wrong with this car with HVAC stuff because I don't know how to turn that screen on. Like the radio doesn't turn on, nothing turns on here. So either this car's too fancy for me and I don't know how to operate it, or we got some sort of issue up there. Obviously we do have trouble codes back in the AC module, if we remember. I don't remember what they were. It was like some sun load sensor. So that's got a couple codes, but I don't think that would cause us... Yeah, I don't see how that would cause this type of issue to not show up. Unless it's smarter than I am, which is very certainly possible. But I think they're just going to have to live with that one. Everything else is working like it's supposed to. We fixed what we were supposed to. We'll let the customer know what we found and see what they want to do from there. I don't know how many more of these cut-ins we're going to do. We got a radio. Under yonder is a fuse box. 7.5 amp radio fuse was blown. Let's key her off. Let's give her a fire up and a crank. I pushed and held the off button on the radio deal. Boom. No AC filter message. Got her taken care of. And apparently we got to select our language on there. There you go. I think that's all the issues that we got for now. Let's do another cut-in. Whenever I go to drive, so reverse is fine. Neutral, and neutral. It says there's something in front. Now I just pulled up to the building, but we can go reverse and we will back away from the building quite a bit. I've got probably 30 feet. A lovely phone cutoff. We got probably 30 feet between us and the building. We're hitting drive, and that goes on. Park assist is mad. Apparently there's a sensor up there. I don't know if I can turn this thing off, but I'll see if I can disable it somehow. We got her off. Luckily there's a button dealer right here. I hope she's done now, unless they want to fix some of that looks probably, I'm guessing we just got a bad sensor or something going on with the sensor up there. Now we're in park. We got all the gears. We got no angry messages. Maybe now we're done with her. Closing thoughts on the Lexus. If you will recall to the intro of this video, we talked about the customer saying the VSC lot, they thought the VSC lot had been on for a period of time before they had the 20-mile-an-hour torque limitation issue. That came up, and now we have some closure on this topic as well, at least for now. When I do test drives, I have about a 5-mile loop that I do. So after we got our throttle working, I took it for a 5-mile rip, and it ran fine the whole time. So customer came and picked up the vehicle, and they drove about 20 minutes on the way home, and they said the VSC lock came back on. I asked them to bring it back in so we could scan it and see if something new popped up. And what actually popped up on their way home was an O2 sensor. They have a different code. When the O2 sensor sets in the fault sets in the engine controller, it also turns on the VSC light. That is completing the story that we started with what we experienced. Now, based on that information, it seems the series of events that actually went down with the car is at some point it had an O2 failure, the turn to check engine light and VSC light on. Over a period of time, the vehicle sat and they boosted it off. Something seemed to have happened when they boosted it off to cause our, apparently, to cause our throttle fuse to blow. Also, customers stated the radio seemed to quit working at the same time or the same drive that they had the 20-mile-an-hour issue. So it seems like something happened when they were boosting it off, replacing the battery, whatever, where we popped the throttle fuse and we also popped the radio fuse as well. For now, since the O2 sensor code that's popped up is not affecting drivability, they don't really care to fix it at this time. But if it ever shows up in the future, we'll go ahead and do the same diag on that one. So they took the vehicle back for now. But yeah, that's all I got in this one. A little bit easier than the rest, minus all of our cut-ins with all the weird maintenance lots and whatevers. But hopefully it was helpful. But I'll catch y'all in the next one.